I lived with a local family, and all the things we did together was centered around something creative. So there was always music, always people playing, incredibly talented guitarists and percussion people making the most amazing music. Everyone would cook together. We'd sit down and eat together every day. We'd make art with the kids while we were teaching.
Hello, my name is Eline Perez and you're listening to Are You an Artist? Today's episode is with Jade Bailey, and it's about creating a life around traveling, languages and connections with people. I love how Jade questions, embraces the unknown and slowly finds out how she wants to live. It's time for you to listen to the wonderful Jade.
Should I pretend I'm French?
Try?
Okay, hello, I'm so happy to be on this podcast today. That was really bad.
I think that was better than me speaking English. So,
No.
so I wrote you a letter.
A letter?
Yeah.
Really?
Dear Jade, I googled your name and discovered a very cute football player. You are very cute, but I don't think you play football. We've been working together with all my podcast guests at Wilton's Musical for a year. And I know you've always been interested in languages, but also, especially, in traveling. After stalking your Instagram, I can say that you have been to Laos, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, but I'm sure there is more, and I would love to hear some traveling stories. Before, of course, comes the question. Jade, are you an artist?
What a question. I would say creative, artistic, but I don't think I can say I'm an artist. Definitely not by trade or not my main passions anymore, but I'm definitely interested in art, yeah.
So anymore? You used to?
Yeah, I was more artistic when I was younger, I think.
Okay.
Or through uni and...
Tell me about your childhood.
my childhood.
Your traumas.
My mum's super creative, so she really influenced me in that way, I think, when I was younger.
What does she do?
So she used to work in, I'm not even sure, but she did fashion and textiles at uni, and she was always like making things, clothes. Now even she does like life drawing, painting, all sorts of creative stuff. Yeah, you'd actually love her. You would really love her. But yeah, she's always been like a big influence and got me into artistic hobbies when I was younger. And then at uni, I always kind of explored art through my studies of languages and culture.
So what would you do, for example? Like, would you draw? Would you...
like with my hobbies, yeah, I used to draw. I mean, music as well. Played the saxophone, but not so much anymore.
How did you find that?
I used to love it, like, really. But I feel like I get a bit of imposter syndrome. So when I am not really good at something, I kind of relax and do it on my own. And then I just lose it because I'm doing it on my own rather than with other motivations, you know?
Okay.
I'm still artistic. I would still say creative. I still have artistic hobbies and I like going to galleries and doing creative things, but I wouldn't say it's like my main passion anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Languages,
travel. I think I'm more interested in culture and art is a big part of that often.
So how did you decide to study languages?
I always loved chatting, communicating. Really, I think that was one of the main things. And I always really appreciated how an understanding or an interest in someone else's language or where they're from can open like completely different conversations. And if you take the time and the effort to learn a bit, then it can take you like a really long way. And I think traveling was one of the main motivations of me to study at uni.
So did you have like a big dream of traveling somewhere or?
Really anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. And I knew that if I did languages at uni, I could do a study abroad for a year.
Which languages?
I did Russian, French and Portuguese.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then I had a year abroad where I was split between those. So Russia, France and Portugal, which was great.
Where did you go first?
Russia.
Okay.
I did 4 months in Moscow.
Oh, wow.
In a homestay with a Russian lady.
How was that?
It was amazing. I had the best time, really the best time.
Could you speak Russian?
I was getting there.
Okay.
Like, it really pushed me a lot because my host didn't speak any English, so I had to...
Can you say something in Russian to me?
Don't make me do that right now. What do you want me to say?
I don't know anything, like...
I don't know.
I like apples.
Я люблю яблоко.
Wow.
But I think the best bit was the immersion. That was the thing I got the most out of it. Like the full cultural immersion, language immersion, living with the host. It really tested me. she didn't speak any English, so I really had to try. It was great. But Russia was really cool as well. Like, obviously, politically very difficult, but as a place to be a student and to explore my interests and meet really cool young people, it was actually really great. Yeah.
And
then Portugal, best 5 months of my life, I would say.
Wow.
I was so happy there. Sunny all the time and just a lot of partying, to be honest, but that was really great. Less of a cultural experience though, because I did live with Portuguese girls, but we didn't really like become as close as me and my host in Russia did.
Okay.
So
do you think like that maybe being with one person as well, you're a bit forced to kind of really go into the culture, and when you are kind of several, it's a bit more free maybe?
And I think with my host in Russia, she lives on her own. She didn't have a lot of family. She was quite old. She must have been like 75. But she didn't have anything else. Me being there was her entertainment in a way. Like,
wow.
So she was so interested in me. Like, she would want to speak to me all the time. I had breakfast with her every day. She was so chatty. This is why my Russian improved so much as well, because she was so keen to chat with me and teach me things. So I'm really grateful to her.
And
then I did summer school in France.
Okay.
In Tours. Yeah.
Oh, in Tours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Had a rough time there. It was good. I learnt a lot of French, but there just wasn't enough going on for me there. And I was studying with a lot of like high school students and didn't have as many friends. So
yeah, how do you find French people?
I like French people. I really do. Okay. I think they're intriguing in many ways.
Yeah, because I feel like they can be quite cold though to strangers.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time to...
Yeah, but I think if you get on the right topic, they always seem like...
What?
I don't know, like if you...
Wine, sex and...
yeah, all the classics. No, I think if you approach the conversation the right way, and I think whenever I tell French people that I'm interested in French culture and language and stuff, they're always keen for more conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do get how the stereotypes exist. But I love French people and France.
Especially me.
Yeah, my favourite French person ever. And then... 1 more year of study in Birmingham. Did my dissertation was related to art. That was a big...
Okay.
Yeah. So I wrote about contemporary Russian protest art.
Okay.
And I did studies into 2 particular protest groups in Russia in the last like 20, 30 years. Mm-hmm. So that was another way that I like explored my interest in art. And then I finished uni, worked, saved up, traveling.
And the big
trip. Yeah, the big trip. Which was from May last year, 6 months in Southeast Asia. Came home in December. Was the best thing ever.
How did you plan it? Did you organize everything or?
It was really last minute because I had another trip planned. It was going to be completely solo and I got a bit overwhelmed by that. And then I'd already quit my jobs. So I was like, oh shit, like I have to go somewhere now. I have to do something. And I still wanted to, but I wasn't ready to do it on my own. And I had a friend who was traveling in Southeast Asia. I was like, oh, fuck it. I'll just go meet her. I knew I would be with her for like a month, and then I was kind of just going to play it by ear, see how I was getting on, and then ended up doing 6 weeks with a different friend and then 4 months on my own. So,
wow.
Yeah, but there was no plan really. I just knew I wanted to experience something new and get out of my comfort zone. And being on my own as well was fantastic. Like I had a great time with my various friends, but the bit where I was on my own was like so meaningful for me in so many ways. So
like, did you learn more about yourself? Or?
Yeah, I think I became more comfortable doing things on my own because at home, I wouldn't really do that much on my own. If I was going somewhere, I wanted to see something, I would go with people. But when you're traveling and you don't have any connections, you just got to get up and go, push yourself. Sometimes things were scary, but you don't have anyone to fall back on. You only have yourself. So,
like, do you have an example of something that scared you and you overcame?
Mostly the things that scared me were just me being disorganized. So like finishing one experience and being like, oh, I actually have nothing else planned and I don't know what to do. And then being overwhelmed by that. That was more the things that stressed me out. But that's all my own doing for being like completely disorganized. Or things, maybe stuff like cancelled trains, flights, and then you're panicked because you're on your own. You just have to work it out. But I think it's just consistent problem solving. I think traveling really forced me to like develop my problem solving skills, which I think are really important. So like it was good for that. And yeah, independence for sure. And being more comfortable with people like immediately. I think sometimes I can be a bit slow to warm up to people. Yeah. But when you're traveling, you don't really have that time. You just kind of have to throw yourself in and just be yourself straight away.
And were you able to communicate with people?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like half the trip I was mainly in like the backpacker scene, so with a lot of people from Europe. But then second half of my trip I did some different volunteer jobs, and that was more with local communities, so was able to communicate mostly. But even if you didn't speak the same language, it was fine.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
Montageline, because it's winter, we all need to blow our noses. So this is the tissue moment. I'm not gonna pause it because I need to talk about my sustainable bamboo tissues, and they're really nice. They're really soft, right?
They are really soft.
Yeah, I love blowing my nose now.
Is this like sponsored?
Yeah, this is sponsored by the Cheeky Panda. Please send me some money then, Cheeky Panda, because I need some.
Money and free tissues, please.
And yeah, I love your tissues. It's great. Good job.
I think the reason that I loved the second half of my trip so much was because I met people from completely different walks of life and committed enough time to those connections to really like experience something different and understand different ways of living. Because you can spend as much time as you like with backpackers and other tourists, and that's amazing. Like I made so many amazing friends and met incredible people from doing that, but the backpacker community is like a bubble, and if you step out of that, which is hard to do, especially when you're like a new traveler, I wouldn't have been able to just jump straight in and go to do these different volunteer jobs if I hadn't traveled beforehand. But when I did manage to do that, it was great. So meaningful to experience something different and appreciate a different way of life and the things that other people have or don't have, and live my life in a way that is so dramatically different to what I do at home was like so interesting.
And has it changed the way you're living now in a way, or the way you're seeing life, or your desires for the future?
Yeah, I think it makes me more intentional with what I'm doing in the day-to-day. Like I'm more aware of what I have in so many ways, and also there's like habits that I got into when I was away that I have tried to bring home. So being more open to things, taking more time to understand things that I'm not familiar with can be so beneficial to yourself even, but to also like other people.
Yeah.
And I think now I did that so many times while I was away that that's something that I've been able to bring home and be just more intentional in everything that I do. Does that make sense? I feel like I waffled my way through that.
Probably when you're traveling on your own, like so far away, you kind of really have to listen to people.
Yeah.
You have to try to understand because you have no choice.
Yeah.
And I feel like the way we live, especially in London, it's so big. We are like really like individuals, and sometimes we just don't listen to anything.
Yeah. And I could walk my way through my London life and not really listen to anything and still be able to survive because I could ask someone else, or I could just check it on my phone or work it out or
the phone
reference to something else. But when I was away, like often that wasn't possible, and I was the only person who had the answers to my own questions because nobody else was listening for me, you know? So I had to do everything on my own and really trust myself. So when I came home, I knew I wanted to travel again soon, and I still do. But the longer I've been home, the more I've lost touch with that drive because I've fallen back into the habits that I have here.
It's comfortable and it's
yeah.
And how was it to travel as a single woman?
I didn't really have any problems. A couple of things, but nothing that would put me off really. I think you have to be a bit more self-aware, but I felt safe 99% of my trip really. If you do your research, you can be so aware of like the things that can put you in unsafe positions, and it's easy to avoid them a lot of the time. Even as a traveler, I feel like people were always looking out for you. Local people were so kind. I've never experienced like kindness and a sense of community like I have when I was away. Yeah, I think I felt safer actually in most of my travels than I do walking around London on my own.
And maybe it's a cliche, but I have this image of people, they're also being super creative. Like they do a lot of handwork because they don't necessarily have the money to buy things as easily as we can do here.
Yeah.
So
they make things themselves and they upcycle, and like in the Western world, we can get really caught up in just getting rid of things and not making an effort to just fix them or improve them. Like we don't live in a sustainable way. And I think that's any environment where you have the means to just easily get rid of something and buy something new. If you don't have that, then you have to learn to fix things and be creative and make the things that you want and the clothes that you want. And even actually I was going to say like the sense of community was so often around something creative. So my last month in Indonesia, I was volunteering in a community language school type thing, and the whole premise was They got international volunteers and they sent them to lead different English classes, free English classes for local people around this island that I was staying on. But I lived with a local family, and all the things we did together was all centered around something creative. So there was always music, always people playing, incredibly talented guitarists and percussion people, like making the most amazing music every evening. Literally every evening we would do that.
Man.
Everyone would cook together. We'd sit down and eat together every day. We'd make art with the kids while we were teaching. Everything was centered around something creative. And yeah, I think that's also something that we don't do so much here.
Yeah.
I would never really get together with my friends and just sit and play music all night. Like, we would never do that.
Yeah, maybe there is not really part of life. It's like something you do, like a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my guitar practice. That's
Yeah.
my hobby.
Yeah. Or, oh, this one time a week, let's make a dinner together.
Yeah.
But it's like consistently creating
It's really
together.
integrated in
Yeah.
their way of life, I
And
guess.
it made such a strong sense of community, honestly. I don't know whether it was the people specifically or the kind of vibe that this project had curated, but it was so special
Do you
but
have
yeah.
like any... I know you want to go everywhere.
everywhere. Everywhere, Aline, everywhere, genuinely.
But when you were thinking about maybe this next trip, did you have
don't
some...
make me say it on the podcast.
images?
No, I do. I know where I want to go. I'm just apprehensive.
I want you to commit to this.
I know. If I say it on the podcast, I have to actually go. I really want to go to South America. I want to go to Brazil. It's been the dream for so long.
Montageline, I am delighted to let you know that after recording this podcast, Jade decided to book a ticket to Brazil, so it's all done. She is leaving very soon.
Having travelled on my own now, I feel ready to do it. And I know the ways that I like to travel. The bit that I loved the most about my trip was doing these different volunteer jobs and staying in one place for like a month and getting to know people.
So how does that work? You can volunteer and then you're allowed to stay at the place, or...?
Yeah, most of the ones I did was I would volunteer a certain amount of time each day, and then I would get free food accommodation.
Wow.
Usually. It depends on the program. But I used these two websites called Workaway and World Packers.
Okay.
So would recommend. It feels like a travel hack. I don't know why everyone's not doing it, honestly. I think at home I'm in a bubble with a lot of people who are on a certain path in terms of career, and they have a lot of academic and career motivations. They're not things that I see so strongly for myself as they do. And being in the backpacker, traveller community, whatever, let me validate that as an option, you know?
Yeah.
I could see people living the lifestyle that I see for myself. But when I'm at home or before I went on the trip, it was really hard to think of it as like something possible.
Yeah.
But then I went away and I met all these people who've been traveling for 2 years or 5 years or 10 years.
Yeah, I guess you really have to witness it to be able to
exactly.
kind of...
And it wasn't just a few, like there was hundreds and hundreds of people living like that. And now what I'm doing, having come home, is trying to work out how I can make that for myself, how I can have an income and still travel.
But also you enjoy teaching languages, so
I do.
That is something you could even do while traveling, I guess.
Yeah. So that's the plan for now, is I'm trying to work remotely. I've just done a teaching course and hopefully I'll be able to get students online.
It's interesting because I guess you have to be so creative to think about that way of life that is not accessible or you can't see it very much. You have to create it yourself. You have to find ways to kind of... Yeah, it's like problem solving. Okay, how do I do this? Because I don't have many examples around me. And
yeah, I think you have to think a bit out of the box about how you can make money and travel at the same time.
I was mentioning that I interviewed my godfather in the podcast, Gwen Crescent, and he was saying how he loves touring because he's traveling, but he's traveling for work. And it's a different way because when you're a tourist, you just come and you consume, you visit. But when you're working, you're really getting in touch with the population there, and they're telling you where to go to the restaurant, and it's a completely different approach to...
Yeah. The thing that I liked about doing the volunteer jobs was being in one place, getting to know people, forming actual relationships with people and making friends and having a routine for a certain amount of time. You can live a whole little life in one place and then you can go on elsewhere, you know? I just want to live a million lives. But it's not possible because I only have one lifetime.
But question then, like when you were in the different countries that you visited, did you feel like you were a different Jade?
Oh, was
like
I
you could
Jade?
kind of change a bit your personality?
Yeah, to be fair. I don't think I dramatically changed. I think I just got more comfortable being like my authentic self. Probably each person that met me has a different perception of me, but I think that's the same everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting learning about yourself because I feel like you don't know who you are and you have to try things. And sometimes it doesn't work and sometimes it works and you discover something you like.
Yeah.
But if you haven't tried it, you don't know.
Yeah.
So you have to just try a lot of different things and go to a lot of different places to get to know a bit more about your tastes
sure.
and stuff.
Before I did my trip, I felt really lost, actually. I was feeling really confused about what I wanted. And I think I had rough ideas, but I didn't feel like I could set them in stone in any way. And I was a bit wishy-washy about all my plans.
Yeah.
If you asked me what I wanted to do in terms of work, I'd be like, I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't know. How do you want to spend your time? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all of that. But now I can be like, I still don't know, but I have a confident idea and I feel confident in the fact that I don't know.
Yeah.
So having done something so open-ended, I can feel comfortable in a rough plan, whereas before there was no direction in my rough plan.
Yeah. Do you have creative inspirations and recommendations of an artist you like or a book you've read or a film or everything?
I think I find inspiration from all the different people I've met when I was away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you write a journal when you were traveling?
I did.
Okay.
And at first it felt really weird.
Yeah.
But by the end, I was loving it. It was so good for introspection.
Yeah.
Sounds so silly, but to take the time and put your crazy brain thoughts into words, they weren't always coherent. I'm sure if you tried to read it, like...
Have you read a bit of it?
Yeah, there's no like punctuation or anything. It's kind of a stream of consciousness, but it's good to slow down and think at a pace that you can write in, you know? Sometimes I find myself, if I'm reflecting on something, I'm like thinking at 1,000,000 miles an hour and there's no space between one thought and another. But when you're writing, you have to
Space it out.
Yeah, you really have to slow down. And I think it's really beneficial.
And would you write also about the people you meet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would.
So you can remember them as well.
Yeah,
that.
for sure. Yeah, I've done loads of things to try and remember all the amazing people I've met, like photo albums and stuff like that.
So did you have like a... gosh, how do you say that? Appareil photo.
Camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a camera. I mean, I got my phone, terrible camera, but as I was away, I was printing photos and sending them to my parents' house. So then I came home, I had like not thousands, but a lot of pictures to go through. But it was a really nice activity to do when I came home, to like look back on all of the memories and kind of have a bit of perspective. Look at the pictures of myself from the start of my 6-month trip when I felt like a little travel baby. And then by the end, when I'd been on my own.
A travel grandma.
Yeah, travel grandma. Yeah.
My name is Jade.
I've been traveling for 6 months. Yeah. I've got so many special memories and made so many incredible friends. And even if I never see them again, which is probably likely for a lot of them, I feel so lucky for the whole experience, so grateful. It's good to put it into something material, such as a photo album or a journal, for example.
So that's your recommendation?
Yeah. But then also, you can't get too caught up on that. So if you get too caught up in trying to remember everything, you'd be there forever.
Yeah. What's the last book you read?
I just read How to Kill Your Family.
How is it?
It was good. Now I'm reading The Alchemist.
I read it.
Have you? Did you like it?
I mean, I read it ages ago. Now I'm a bit like, I can very easily find things cheesy. So I know it's because probably also I've read more absurd stuff and I really love the crude and I love the, rather than I'm gonna learn about the word and all this magic thinking. I'm a bit, Eileen from the montage, last interruption. I cringed while doing the editing of this part, so I just wanted to add that I read The Alchemist 10 years ago. Really liked it at the time, but I was a teenager and my taste was very different. However, I should probably read the book again before assuming that I would not like the story today.
This is cheesy for you?
This is a bit cheesy for me. I don't know, I need maybe to read it again.
I think there's a lot of metaphor.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of following him along on his journey, you know?
Yeah, probably I should read it again.
Yeah, I think it's not so much like hard sources that I would recommend that inspire me, just speaking to people all the time. Just see where a conversation goes, you know?
Yeah, that's
some of the best
really
conversations
true.
I had when I was away were like completely unexpected.
Yeah.
Just random people speaking to you in the street even. Like that happened a lot. But that was always the way to get the best recommendations of what to do and how to spend your time in each place. Like I think it's silly to go and just stay in the backpacker bubble. Sorry to talk about it again, but recommendations from...
Get away from the backpack.
Yeah. No, but, I mean, it's great. In so many ways, it's great, but just speaking to other people is greater.
Do you feel like you speak more to people now in London here?
Yeah, I think I do. I think I'm not scared to just speak to someone on the bus, in the street, whatever. If someone, I think before I would have shut down a conversation, I would have been like, why are they talking to me? But now I can value more a spontaneous conversation with a stranger. Yeah. And I think I'm not scared of it. Like, I would have been a bit scared before. Yeah.
Random questions of the end. What makes you laugh?
What makes me laugh?
Eileen.
Yeah, Eileen cracks me up every day. Other than Eileen, I would say so many things. Life makes me laugh. I think London makes me laugh a lot, actually, but not in like a hee hee ha ha way. Like in a...
It's quite an absurd city, London. I find.
We get caught up in things, but it makes me laugh in like a haha, like what the fuck were you all doing kind of way.
Exactly.
But like you have to laugh, otherwise you just cry, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I find that a lot with things in my like life here. But they're not all bad. They're just Do
you like to go to the supermarket?
I love to go to the supermarket. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite one?
Favorite supermarket?
Yeah.
I really like the Co-op near my house.
Okay.
Yeah, they always have reduced hummus. Yeah, food shopping is the best thing, I think.
Okay.
Did you want more from me?
No, that's fine.
Any more questions?
I have more questions.
Okay, keep going. We'll get something good soon. I haven't answered the last few questions very well.
What?
I
think this podcast is gonna be like a C-.
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah.
You don't mean that. I'd actually cry. I want to be interesting.
You're interesting. I love you. So, do you believe in talent?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I forgot about my coffee.
Oh, you forgot about your coffee. Well, that's a nice
Let
coffee
me just
now.
quickly drink some.
Lovely iced coffee in February.
It's okay. I've got the nice warm pipe to sit next to. So. Do I believe in talent? Yeah, I do. I think everyone has a talent. Everyone has loads of talents. And you don't have to be that talented, any of them, for them to be important, I think. That's bullshit answer.
No.
No.
Stop thinking about... You're thinking too fast.
I'm thinking I just said everyone has a talent, but you don't have to be that talented at it. That doesn't even make sense.
Doesn't have to make sense here. I'm interviewing artists and they don't think straightforward. So
True.
You can say pretty much anything and I'll be like, wow, that's so philosophical. If you could have dinner with anyone, alive or dead, who would it be? I love you to say something. The King of Belgium.
Actually, yeah, I've always wanted to have dinner with the King of Belgium. That's a really hard question, Aline. I think I would like to have a dinner. This isn't with anyone specific, but I would love to have a dinner with someone that I met when I was away that we couldn't actually speak the same language. But then to actually get like, there were people.
So you want a magical dinner?
You know what I would do, actually, if I could have one possible dinner would be with my host from Russia in a world where we could both fluently speak either Russian or English. Oh. Or if there could just be like a active brainwave translation kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
Because I spent 4 months with her, right? But my Russian was really broken and she didn't speak English. So our communication was really limited.
Yeah.
But I would really love to just have a conversation with her, like a proper conversation where there was no language barrier. Because we spent so much time together, but I'm sure there's like a million things we didn't get onto because my language was just too limited. That would be amazing.
Wow.
That would be so cool, actually.
Aww.
If you ever invent some kind of tool that does that.
I'll try.
Yeah,
my best.
We'll do that. We'll have to do that.
If you could live a parallel life.
A parallel life.
So you have your life, but you have like, it's like a bonus life. You can choose whatever you want to do. And you're super free of like...
I think... I would really love to do like something really meaningful in the charity sector and just dedicate my life to like one cause, yeah. That would be so cool.
That's the most selfless answer I got.
Really? No, but I just think I sometimes feel like I'm being selfish by...
Yeah, me too, but I really indulge in that.
No, but like the path I'm choosing right now feels like the dream path, you know?
Yeah.
If I really am able to make traveling a full-time thing, that would be my dream, like.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So I see it for myself, so I can't say that it would be like my parallel life, because I'm hoping that
you can do it
in
in
2 years
life.
it will be like my actual life.
Wow.
But I don't want to, I think if I had more time, I mean, I have a lot of time, but it would be cool to dive into one cause and just work on that for a long time, and actually feel like you've done something productive with your life. I feel like I can travel as much as I want and it can be productive for me, but how much am I helping anyone else? I'm just going around enjoying myself, you know? I think to do something big would be so cool.
Wow. Thank you, Jade.
I wish I could just have a lot of lives.
Well, maybe we can have different lives in one life.
Yeah. But I can't have one massive career and then do all the other things I want to do.
Why not?
I have to sacrifice.
Mm.
Well, but I don't have enough time in the day. Or I'm just not productive. Maybe I'm not productive enough. Maybe I need to get off my fucking phone. Maybe in like 10 years I'll have a really serious career in the charity sector. We'll see.
We'll see. Well, in 10 years, you're going to listen to this episode.
Yeah, oh my God, this is like a time capsule.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I will do that actually.
Anything you want to tell to your in 10 years self? Baby Jade is speaking.
Oh my God, loads of things. I have done loads of really cool things.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I hope. I really hope. I've got future Jade. I have really high expectations for all the cool things that you've done with your life. So if you haven't, get your finger out. You're still young in 10 years' time, right? How old would I be? 34.
Yeah,
I've still got loads of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, Jade, this is a future message. No, this is a message. This is a message to you in the future. In 10 years, if you haven't done anything cool or haven't done loads of cool things, get your act together. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Is this the end?
This is the end.
Oh, it was such a pleasure.
It was such a pleasure.
Sorry for when you edit this and you have to remove 700 likes.